Yeah, I prepared like two itty bitty tiny little stories for tonight. And I should tell you, there's blood in both of them. Like Daniel Day-Lewis, there will be blood. But Reba's story actually brought this to mind because, has anyone ever heard the term dominant anxiety? Dominant anxiety is when, you're doing BDSM play and you're in the dominant role and you're worried that you just can't pull it off. I have that. It's a lot like imposter syndrome because the thing is the Dom is always expected to be the master, the know-it-all, the guy who, like in the 50 Shades thing just happens to be master of everything, that kind of thing. And I just don't feel that way most of the time. Well, a few years ago, I met this fella on a BDSM site, and he was so impressive to me. He was a sculptor from Korea, and I was just like blown away by his art. So I was kind of intimidated about meeting him. Then I found out he wanted to be the submissive role in a little scene play with me. So I invited him over, and you know what? I had talked to other doms before this and let them know how nervous I was, and they said, oh my God, if you're nervous, all you have to do is put a blindfold on the sub right at the beginning of everything, and they can't see how nervous you are, They can't see you sweat. So, okay, I told Du, your safe word will be red. And then as soon as we started play, we're in my apartment, I put a blindfold on him, and I was so struck because he just went, as soon as that blindfold was on, he went limp like a wet noodle into my arms. And I was like, oh shit. He is so good at submissiveness. Maybe my part will be easy. So I tie him to my bed, the wrists and ankles to all the bedposts and everything. Now, I had a rescue cat way back then. And he was just one of those problem felines, right? His name was Mr. Pooh, which sounds a lot cuter than his personality. He had been found out on the streets of Queens, and he had his balls, he had his testicles just longer than cats usually do. So he had become like a mountain lion, basically. He was incredibly strong, and whenever I took him to the vet, he terrified the entire staff. He could really lash out at people. So anyway, back to Du. Du is tied to my bed, and I'm starting to torture him, doing all sorts of things to all his good bits. Then Mr. Pooh jumps up on the bed, and I think, oh no, Mr. Pooh is gonna ruin my mojo and make me look like an idiot. So I grab the cat, and that is the point at which Mr. Pooh sinks one of his fangs, as deep as he can get it, into my thumb. And I was just stunned in shock. I dropped the cat, and a fountain of blood starts spurting from my thumb. I had never seen anything like this before, except in like a Monty Python sketch. It's like, I didn't know this happened. And then I'm like, oh my God, dude, does he not know? No, he doesn't know. He's still blindfolded. So I'm running around searching for something to tie around my hand, and I crash right into a light fixture, and it goes bang, bang, and falls on the floor. And when it hits, the light hits the floor, I can see all the blood I've gotten on the floor, which makes me go, ah! And I accidentally splashed Du in the face. Oh my God, it was like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in my apartment. So I just started screaming, red, 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 and Du has the blindfold on, and he's like, you're safe wording? I said, yes, I am. So that night, we became the best of friends because that was the night that I learned that you can order your submissive to take you to the hospital. my goodness gracious.